Hi, I'm Dale from Glenarley Pipes. Doing this video today on these humidicap reed protector devices that we find out in the market. The one I've been sent is a particular brand. This one here is pretty typical. It's got an LCD display on the top, and it goes onto your chanter. This particular one, they've got a cam lock device, so you can lock it onto your chanter, and the device comes with sachets of a known content of moisture. These fit into a slot. They get squashed into a slot inside there. There's two of them that come with this device. Fold them in half and you squish them down there, and the moisture, and the idea is the moisture within that sachet will leach out into your reed and moisten it if it's too dry, and absorb the moisture out of it if it's too wet. And it's as simple as that. That's the thing. Now, the first thing, one thing that stood out is that on the advertising on one of them there, and it said digitally controlled. Now, there's no digital control. That's the first thing you've got to get out of the way. These things are a digital display. They've got a little battery in, so they are powered up by a battery, but there's no control there. They don't control humidity in any way, shape or form. All they do is print out what it is. Now, they cost about $2 or $3 each. I've had to replace quite a few of these because of the nature of them having to pull them out. Quite a few people have dropped and broken these things, so I buy them 10 at a time. Like I say, they're about $2 or $3 each. So, and what they represent is probably indicative of the money that you're paying, but they are not. They don't do any form of control. So this is a static device. So the moisture just leaches out. Now, the one thing that's also confusing, and this is the one points raised with me, was it says 84%, so this is 84% RH because it talks about two-way humidity control. So we're believing on the website it says RH. Now, some manufacturers, there are more than one manufacturer of this type of device. Now, this particular manufacturer is quite happy with you folding it. The salespeople says to fold it, and they didn't mind it being jammed down in a small gap so that it's got no surface area for the moisture to leach out. The other manufacturers, they were not happy with them being folded at all, and they were certainly not happy with them being jammed down a small gap. But this mob here, the salespeople say it's all right. The technical person wasn't happy with it being jammed down a gap, but said that they are happy enough for them to be folded. Once again, the RH, I don't know what that's relative to. So when they say 84 RH, does that mean that if I put this in, it normally has to be rated against space? RH is normally is the measurement of moisture in the air, and so you normally have to do that through air movement, like a sling cyclometer or hygrometer or whatever. These ones here, because they're static, there's no air movement. I'm not too sure how it actually works, and that's what we're going to look at. But the RH, I've got no idea. Now, does that mean if I put that in a 200 ml jar, or a half litre jar, or a 1 litre jar, or a bucket? I mean, what is it relative to? What airspace is it is that 85% humidity relative to? There's no data. There's no way of knowing. The other thing with these packets is on the website is that most examples of them using them, they'll use them like people use them like for cigars, or people using it for their marijuana. In every case, they were put on a jar and they actually had physical contact with the product they were trying to keep moist, or control the moisture of. In the reed container, they don't touch the reed. So I had no idea, and I couldn't imagine how in a static environment the moisture transfers over, but it is what it is. And I believe that there's lots of pipers out there have said that they use these things. So I thought I'd test it in a more of a control situation initially before doing it in the cap. So this is what I came up with. I put the sachet in the jar. This is a little anchovy jar. It's a very small jar, as you can see. And I put a reed in there. Now, the reed was put in there. It's been in there for over 3 days. When the reed was put in there, it was about 17% moisture. It was like this one here. I left it outside. We'd had quite a few really humid days a few days ago, so when I put it in there, it was 17% moisture. Straight out of the box from the Shepherd, that read was about 10% moisture content, so just measuring it with the meter. So this one here, it's been sitting outside here, it's been quite warm today, it's 30 degrees nearly, and that's, say, 14% moisture content in that read. So it's been drier, so it's all seems fairly consistent. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to see exactly how much moisture the reed absorbed. Now, like I say, I know it was 17% when I put it in there. That's over 3 days ago. I'm guessing that because your breath is saturated, so the breath that you're blowing through your reed in your pipe is saturated, that's 100% RH. That's just a fact, it's just what it is. Because these say 85, I'm guessing that in a confined space like this, what leaches out will get it up to 85% moisture content. So that reed should have about 85% moisture content in it after 3 days. The book says between 1 and 2 days, and it will have normalised. I've left it over 3 now, so it should have well and truly normalised. I say because your breath is 100% and this is 85, I'm expecting, because the reed is about 35% moisture when you play it, when it normalised after you're playing it, your first 5-10 minutes, it's sorted out to about that. So I'm guessing probably high 20s. Best guess. I haven't done it yet, but that's, I would anticipate it will be up there. So there's very little moisture needs to be added to the reed before it's up to the correct moisture content for playing it. So we'll have a look and see what we've got here. And we're not a bloody sausage. Wow. Just to be sure, this is a bit of dry machine. This is a jar of the machining. Yeah, 10-11%, so that'll be about right. Wow, not a bloody thing. Okay, well, I think we've got a case of the Emperor's New Clothes. That been in there for 3 days with a brand new one of these packets. It's still all mushy. I can bring it out. It's still all mushy. You can feel that it's liquid in it, and it's done nothing, not a bloody thing. Which kind of answers my question about how does it transfer moisture across without contact. Well, obviously it doesn't. Well, actually, wow. I'm starting to think this is a stitch-up. Wow. That is not what I expected. Okay, so here's the sachet. It's out of the bag. It's the first time it's been out of that bag. And it's at 85% RH, as you saw. So what's the moisture content of that sachet? It is 14%. Basically the same as a reed. Basically the same as what you expected if it had been out in ambient. Why isn't that wet? Why isn't that packet wet? You can feel the mushiness in it. It's not been out of that. So this is sealed from the provider. That one there is just as mushy. Okay, I got no idea. I'm going to do a couple of other tests, but I think that's a stitch-up. I think that's the Emperor's New Clothes. Hands down, there's no other explanation. Normally, when we're talking about humidity, transferring moisture through humidity, we're talking about assisted. In other words, we have airflow, like we have fans, we have compressors, we have evaporators, we have static. We don't have static environment, we have an active environment. Same as out in the air, where it's an active environment, there's air moving around. This is a static environment, and when you think about it, in a static environment, what is there to encourage the moisture from that packet to go to that reed? Nothing. And that's what you got, nothing. In this environment. I mean, that's as fair a test as I could do. Because it simulates that. That reed is actually closer to it in my test than it would be in this. Wow, that's a biggie. That is really, really, really disappointing. Okay, now that leads me to the person who sent me this and asked me, one of the people anyway, they sent me a list of claims by the product. Stabilise your tone and tuning. A warmer, richer, more stable sound. Well, warmer than what, richer than what, more stable than what. That's just, I feel that that's just a case of pure marketing. So I'm guessing, I'm of the belief that all of these points here are created by somebody from marketing. You know, little Johnny down at marketing sat down one day, sat on the throne for an hour or two and dreamed up all of these wonderful descriptive terms. And I don't think little Johnny would have ever played, touched, seen or heard a bagpipe. But anyway, that's what's a warmer, richer, at best it's extremely subjective. Dramatically shorten warm-up time. Pipes are always instantly ready to play. Well, your pipes are always instantly ready to play. Whether they're in tune or whatever, that's another thing. But if they've got reeds in them, they're always instantly ready to play. Improve consistency. A more consistent sound from day to day, even if you take several days off. Now, consistent sound comes from bag control. Are they implying, and is that statement supposed to imply that it doesn't change from day to day? Well, I don't think a piper is going to say that, because a piper knows whether it's hot, cold, wet or dry. They're going to have to think about how they tune their pipes on, and they're going to take them out on that day and tune them. So once again, I don't think a piper made that statement. I think that statement was purely made by marketing guru. Protect your reefs of changing weather conditions. Have more consistent. So we've covered consistency and all that whole season. Okay, fine. Great tone all year. Consistent tone and tuning all year. So you do have to tune. Consistent tone and tuning. Well, once you've blown your reed for 5 minutes and it's got up to 35% moisture, it is going to be consistent. We can see that in this condition here, it doesn't put enough moisture in, so you're still going to have to blow your reed in, irrespective. You're still going to have to get the moisture in your reed, just like you do with a clarinet or an oboe or anything else. You are going to have to get the moisture in the reed. So that's furphy. Summer and winter. Once again, hot and cold. I'm guessing there are references to hot and cold. So having this is going to negate the need to adjust for temperature. So in summer, if you've had this on your chanter for the year, you're not going to have any difference between summer and winter when you pull your chanter out of this and put it in your bag and blow it. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I don't think so. You'll enjoy spending, a great sound every time you play. Well, we've sort of covered that. Obviously, these are different manufacturers have made very, very similar claims. Or one's just copied the claims of another and just changed a few words. Get a consistently great sound every time you play. Well, you'll enjoy spending more time playing, less time tuning and messing about for your reeds. Tune once and it holds. Interesting claim. So does that mean that if I tune it in January and I always put this cap on it, in December it's always, every time you play, so it's every time I go to play it, pull this off and go to play that pipe, so that they're going to have a wonderful sound. Yeah, right. Well, I think you'd be better off waiting for the tooth fairy, in my opinion. But anyway, if you think that yeah, I don't even know that. Once again, I can only think that is a marketing thing. Quicker warm-ups, dramatically shorter warm-up, pipes always instantly well, we've covered that. This obviously copies someone else. Great tone anywhere, we've covered that. Superior tone, warm richer, we've covered that. Tune once and it will hold, we've covered that. Anywhere in the world. Now this last one, this is interesting. In Australia we have consumer protection laws. In other words, companies aren't allowed to make outrageous, false, misleading claims about their product to encourage you to buy it. Now this statement here is, I think it falls in that category: save money and hassle with reeds that last 3 to 4 times longer. Now, none of these claims are supported by evidence. None of these claims say I think, or he thinks, she thinks, we think. They're made as a statement. You will. This does. Save money and hassle. Now, well, the reeds last 3 or 4 times longer. Now, what is 3 to 4 times longer? What is the control? So what is one time? Is that a day? So your reeds will last for 3 or 4 days. Is that a month? So they'll last, if you use this, they'll last for 3 or 4 months, where they normally only last a month. If your reed lasts a year, does this mean that your reeds will last 3 to 4 years? Once again, no data, no information, no direct reference to anything, just look. My car does 100 kilometres on 3 litres of fuel. Trust me, I'm a car salesman. I would not lie to you. I'm a car salesman. I'm an honest person. Could you please provide any data, Mr. Car Salesman? No. No, you've got to trust me. I'm a car salesman. I wouldn't lie to you. Buy the car and it'll be great. Same sort of thing. When you make a claim like that, especially saving money, and no evidence at all, you provide no evidence, then under the consumer protection in this country, you would be able to challenge that. You could force them to provide the data. So, and in these cases, I know I reeds are 4 times longer. This is the other person saying the same. Your reeds cleaner and more hygienic. No more licking or pinching reeds means the reeds look fresh and new for much longer. Well, I've got to tell you something. My experience with pipers is pipers don't give a rat's ass what their reeds look like. They're only interested in what they sound like. So if he's got a good sounding dirty one, he'd much rather have that than a bad sounding clean one. So I'm not even sure what the relevance of that. Cleaner and more hygienic. How does this keep them more hygienic? I mean, any reed cover will stop dirt getting on their reed. So cleaner, once again, I think that's claimed by marketing. I think little Johnny just got excited with his marketing spin and started spelling it out. Play more tune this, we've covered that. No surprises, we've covered that. So, they're the claims. I can't answer any of them, but the one thing I must point out is there isn't a single one of these claims that's got a shred of evidence attached to it in any way, shape or form. This is purely somebody's view. I believe it's probably marketing, because I don't believe a piper could make those statements and make them with a straight face to another piper. It's not. I don't believe it's reasonable to do so. I don't believe that would be the case. So, marketing, well, marketing's a funny thing. Now, so we talk about it like that, save money and hassle. And so I did question that, and what the person came up with, he did a trace on me, and he found out that the server, the web server that claim is based on, and you're referred to that web server to look for all of the wonderful data on this device when you buy it. Doesn't come with it, but you're directed to this website. This website is hosted on Quincy High School server. Now, why you would need to host a commercial product on a high school server, I'm not too sure, but it's in Washington State. And that's when the bell started to ring. This is from Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson, and he goes on to, in his webpage, he states, "We offer an informal complaint resolution service to Washington State residents and to consumers with complaints about businesses located in Washington State. Through this process, we contact businesses to determine their response to consumer complaints. If a business refuses to respond or to make an adjustment, we cannot compel them to do so. We inform consumers of alternatives if our complaint resolution service is not successful." Well, of course it's not going to be successful. You're a paper tiger, the Attorney General Bob Ferguson. Your department is a paper tiger. If you can't compel them to do anything, you are an absolute paper tiger. You have the power of recommendation and no power of enforcement. What's the point of you even existing? And your service is always going to be unsuccessful, because what businessman is going to refund money or offer some sort of adjustment if he can't be made to do so? So that may be one reason why you see such what I believe are completely outrageous claims, because they are all hosted in a state that has no consumer protection laws other than voluntary. So that might go a long way to explaining it. Okay, as it turns out, my personal view at this point is I think we're talking about the Emperor's new clothes in spades. I think this is a stitch-up. I haven't seen a single bit of evidence from anyone anywhere other than opinions, personal opinions. Remember, opinions like backsides, we've got one. I have seen no data at all, and now I know why. Because you can't provide it. If it doesn't exist, you can't provide it. But in the interest of fairness and consistency, and also because, you know, I want to be objective about this, I'm going to get my reed container thingy, my humidicap. I'm going to put these, I'm going to fold these and place these into it as per the instructions. I will play that reed until it gets up to 35% moisture, until it normalises, which will be after about 5-7 minutes, and it will be about 35% moisture content. I will then place that reed, that chanter, into my humidicap with all the things in it, and throw it in the boot of my car for a week. Now at the end of a week, I'll bring it out of the boot of my car and we'll see how we go. Theoretically, if this product does everything it says that it does, when I pull that reed out of my car, it theoretically should be still at 35% moisture. Well, the jury is out. There's plenty of people reckon it's going to have mushrooms all over it. It's going to have that much fungus on it. You could start harvesting, but we'll see what happens, because there's nothing in here apart from the salt that is really going to prevent mildew. There's nothing on this packet that says it's got any sort of fungicide or anything in it, so I'm guessing it hasn't. But anyway, we'll see what happens at the end of the week. So that's what I'm going to do. If you've got any questions, you know how to send them through. Thanks for watching.